What's going on, everybody? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. So if you haven't already noticed, I am finally in the new place. Unfortunately, I was not able to bring the brick wall with me from the old place. However, I'd like to take a minute and go over some of my favorite memories of brick wall and say our goodbyes that way. There's the clamp card lit with some blinking blue and white SMD LEDs.
Hey everybody, Tim from Tierfon Orbital. I have no idea who made this.
It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you
What's
had
going
the
on, everybody?
time
Tim
of
from
your
Tierfon
life.
Orbital. This one is a This is a curved hill. This is a curved hill.
It's
And
something unpredictable.
I did say I would never do a curved hill ever again. And then you're ready to go. Okay, all kidding aside. So, I'm in the new place. This is going to be the very first demo that I have recorded in this new setup. I'm really happy with the way things are. I'm still trying to figure out logistically how I'm going to film certain things. I've got a main desk here where I work during the day, and I've got my a workbench over here that I will be doing installs from. I would like to get to a point to where I'm filming installs and doing live streams. That's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I just really haven't had the setup to do that. So I'd really like to get in the habit of doing just hangouts. Build and stream, build and chill, something a la, the kind of stuff that Jeremy from CCsabers does and Benji does them as well. I just really would like to do that. So I haven't figured out how I'm going to film over there just yet, but in the meantime, we're just going to stick with this setup and we're going to roll with it, right? So let's get started. This is a demo video for an install that I finished a couple of weeks ago, actually. But it is for an CCsabers low ground. So this is the second Anakin Hilt from CCsabers that I have installed. You probably are familiar with my experience with the Tusken Slayer. I really love that hilt. It's a phenomenally made hilt. It feels phenomenal. It's like chrome-plated brass. So nice hilt. In my opinion, though, I feel like this hilt is even better than that one. And there are a few reasons for that. Mainly, there's more room in the hilt, right? So as an installer, we want more room, as much room as possible, without making the hilt look like a Galaxy's Edge hilt, in my opinion, is what we're after, right? So then we can do a lot of detail work on the chassis. We can add our wire channels. We can add stuff like accent pixels and OLEDs. So this hilt, there's a lot more room on the inside of this hilt. It's steel. Sean from CCsabers has done a really, he didn't polish them, but the way that he had these manufactured, the steel is polished to a really nice shine, and I think it looks rad. And of course, steel, being steel and heavy, the hilt feels like a weapon. And I've said this before, I prefer a heavy hilt. It makes it feel like it's got some substance, so really big fan of this hilt, and I'll probably end up picking one up. I know Sean is out of them at the moment, but I'll probably end up finding one to have as a part of my collection. I really like the hilt, and I was never really a fan of Anakins Graflex, or Skinny Flex. So anyhow, we're going to talk a little bit about the chassis. I did have to figure out an interesting switch solution for this particular install, and I'll talk about that a little bit. And then, of course, we'll do a demo, and we'll be on our way, right? So let's come into Fusion, talk about this chassis. Okay, so here's the chassis that I did for this install. So the first thing you will notice is that there are no greeblies in the center of this chassis, and this is because this is a stationary chassis, but because of the way the hilt unthreads, you can essentially, the middle section of this hilt, the clamp car, the control box, they all stay in place. The grip can unscrew and the emitter can unscrew. So that's why there's no greeblies in the middle there. I also want to mention right off the bat, right, before I forget, this is negative side up. Okay, so typically, 9 times out of 10, we install with, or I install with negative towards the speaker, spring towards the speaker, spring side negative. The spring will be towards the top of this install. So I will, I'll go over that visual aid when we do a demo, but I want to get that out of the way because of the way that the middle section of this clamp card and the control box, the middle section of the hilt, for clearance wise, I wanted to have the spring up towards the top. Right, and I'll talk about that when we go over detail. But other than that, completely unnecessary greeblies along each side. So as I mentioned, since the top part of this hilt also unthreads, I wanted to get some detail up here. This is another really, really cool thing that I like about this hilt. This upper section, there's space there if you install it like this. There's space for all kinds of fun stuff, right? Like, so you can move your Proffie from, being on top of the battery to up here if you want, or you can even add a crystal chamber up here. I think that'd be a really, really fantastic idea. I just ended up putting an OLED up here. You don't see the OLED, obviously, when the top of the hilt is screwed in, but there was just so much room, I figured, why not? Let's throw an OLED on there. And we've got greebly around back. And that's it. So we've got a PCB emitter up top here. Along the bottom, we've got a 28mm speaker. This is from Smugglers Outpost. There is not a kill switch in this build. Yes, there is. I forgot. There is a kill switch down in here. So the kill switch sits just above the speaker. Proffie board sits here. I did put a lip here. So the Proffie board does slide up underneath that lip. And there's like a little ledge here that keeps it press fit down, right? And that's it. Nice and simple chassis. Well, not really, but anyhow. So let's come up top and talk about this hilt really quick. Right, so here it is. Right off the bat, you will notice that this is steel. I mean, it almost looks like chrome, right? It almost looks like chrome-plated brass, but this is in fact steel. This hilt looks so good, in my opinion, right? And it feels really, really phenomenal, right? So right off the bat, I want to talk about this switch, right? So the way that this switch mechanism works is there's a brass switch toggle here, and that has a post that goes into the chassis. So unfortunately, I didn't take any pictures of this during the install because once it's on, it's on. You can't remove it without taking the clamp card out and unscrewing the switch. So that post that drops into the middle of the hilt activates 2 tactile switches that are on each side, and they point this way. So one points this way, and the other one points that way, and there is a post that goes down into the middle of the chassis. And this is what activates both of those switches. I also had to modify this brass switch a little bit. I did have to grind off a little bit of it because I wanted it to have a little more travel. It was really, really tight. And I like being able to feel the tactile switch so I know when I'm activating things. So I edited that a little bit just to give it a little bit more travel. So, and that's pretty much it, right? Really, really beautiful hilt. So let's talk about how to use this guy. Let's do the grip first. So both the grip and the upper section of the hilt do unscrew. So we've got our Proffie board here. There is a kill switch down in here. I'm going to turn it off. Here's our 28mm speaker from Smugglers Outpost, and battery tray is here. So the reason I mentioned that I wanted to have the spring side up here, it almost sits underneath the lip of this middle section of the hilt. So I wanted to have the switch up there. I've done that before with some of my tighter Koran builds, where you can kind of slide the battery underneath that lip and get it to sit correctly. If I had the spring down here, I wouldn't be able to put the battery past this lip. So that's the reason why we did that upside down. So to the client, just make sure you're putting your battery, spring side is up towards the emitter, okay? So once you get your battery in, hit that kill switch.
Lie to me and expect imperial favor.
Okay. And then you want to screw your grip on. So before we come back to the bottom, or the top here, I do want to show, so the top of the hilt also unscrews. And there's where we've got our OLED. Okay. And we've got a lit PCB emitter. This is one of Carl's new V2 lit PCB emitters. And that's it, and it will work. So I do have different animations on the OLED for each of the fonts. Okay. And that's it, right? So as far as the toggle goes, up is to activate, down is to hit your arcs, and that's it, right? So once you get your battery in, hit that kill switch. Hit that kill switch, and you're ready to go, right? So let's come down to the bottom here. Okay, so that's it. All right, so twist to activate, twist to deactivate are both on. Let's put a blade in this and do a quick demo, okay? So another thing I forgot to mention, this is also a 7/8 inch blade holder, and you know, another reason why I really like this hilt. I prefer a 7/8 inch blade. I think they look really great. The hilt also ships with a blade plug. This is also from CCsabers. The blade plug is even in steel. I mean, I think Sean really knocked it out of the park with this hilt. It's just really well made, right? So once you get your blade plug out, you want to put your blade in, push it till it's resting on those PCB pins. Another really unique thing about this hilt is the blade retention screw, right? So behind this faux red button is a black set screw, and that will serve as your blade retention. So once you get your blade in, tighten that black set screw. Now I also noticed that the glass eye around front, the accuracy guys are going to kill me for not knowing what this is called, but this button around front also serves as a blade retention, but you can't really crank it down. So what I've been doing is you tighten that black set screw in the back and then tighten the front, and then you put your faux red button back on. There's like a divot in here that will allow for clearance with that black set screw, and then you're ready to go. Phenomenal hilt. Let's see what else we got.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Great hilt. Really nice hilt. Alright, so anyway, that's all I got. So yeah, so one of the things that I'm realizing about this new setup is I can't really swing a blade around without hitting the ceiling fan. So I don't have high ceilings in this place like the old place, so I got to be careful. Final thoughts. Love the hilt. It was a phenomenal hilt. It was a phenomenal install experience. And like I said, I will probably end up getting one for myself. I know Sean is sold out of them at the moment, but you know, I'm sure one will come around as they do. I always find a way to get some of these hilts in my collection if I fall in love with them. So to the client, thank you very much for trusting me with your install. Don't forget, spring side is towards the emitter on this build. Spring side will always be negative, but it's just flipped in this build. And that's it, right? So to these viewers, everybody, really, thank you very much for the support. Everyone has been so awesome to me in this community, and I just wanted to say thank you. If there's ever anything I can do, if anyone has any questions, please don't be a stranger. And with that being said, welcome to the new place, and may the force be with you always. Have a good one, everybody.